welcome to Fahrenheit Performance Podcast, episode number 75.
75.
I know, a nice round number. Arthur Tong, welcome to the podcast.
Thank you for having me.
Yeah, Arthur, it's funny because I've been doing triathlon coaching for about 10 years with Metasport, and you've probably been doing it with Elevate for about the same amount of time, right?
Well, actually 6.
The 6? Okay, so significant amount of time. So, but it kind of feels like you've always been on the other side of the coin because I don't say they're rivals, but Metasport and Elevate, or Metasport coaching and Elevate is sort of the same thing, right? So I'm sure some of the clients go from us to you to us. So I guess our lives have been in parallel, but
Yeah.
we're actually quite similar because I'm an engineer. You're an engineer.
Yes.
I have a daughter named Haley. You have a daughter named Haley, right? I work in my business with my wife. You work in your business with your wife, right? So quite funny the way things work out. You're described as a husband, father, athlete, coach, entrepreneur. In that order?
No particular order, but I really love my family and they are always number one.
I would say that's pretty much the order. Maybe athlete and coach you can switch around, but
Yeah.
So Arthur, who are you? And what do you do?
So I am almost like a full-time dad to my 2 kids. Haley is 4.
Yep.
Logan is 4 months.
Okay.
And
So right now you are daddy daycare, right? 'Cause
I am
Elaine
yes.
is in Vancouver, getting ready for T100.
Vancouver, but with Logan
Okay, so you are.
and with Haley.
Okay.
But I enjoy spending time with my daughter a lot.
Of course.
So I am the founder and head coach of Elevate Performance Coaching.
Yep.
So like Metasports,
Yep.
I provide, coaching guidance for primarily age group athletes wanting
Yep.
to join, your middle distance races, your full Ironmans, your long distance races. And in general, like I enjoy the concept of endurance racing, even though I am not a fantastic endurance athlete.
Me too. But is it mostly triathlon or solely triathlon or how do you juggle that?
So I think endurance, the endurance energy system is what I've studied into.
Okay.
So, like you mentioned, everything from Natalie's Project 1000, having the opportunity to experience that, plan that out,
Yeah.
all the way to your Ironman races. It could be even just running or even cycling.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
It's all about energy system,
Yep.
right? You are running, but the bigger thing is understanding how the body handles that kind of distance.
And that load, right?
The load, the duration, how do you recover? How do you fuel? I feel like over the years, I've gained a lot more experience, especially in the world of endurance. Right. So I think that's my specialization.
So, but you've not always been a triathlon coach, right?
So I came back from Canada, from high school. And
So you just did high school in Canada. Why did you do high school in Canada? You're Singaporean, right?
ooh, that is a long,
You know what? I wanted to do high school in Canada. When I was like year 10, I thought, you watch these Jurassic High, what's it, Degrassi High, whatever.
Yes.
Right? I thought, this is so cool. I would do that because I had relatives over there. And I almost did it, but it never ended up happening.
Well, I'm actually born in Hong Kong.
Oh, okay.
My family is, originally from Hong Kong.
Okay.
Well, my dad moved to Singapore. The rest of the Tong family actually moved to Vancouver,
Yeah,
Canada.
there's a lot of people from Hong Kong
right.
in Canada.
That's right. So, my grandparents were there as well. So at a certain stage of, my life, my parents were exploring moving the whole family over to Vancouver as well. But for me as a young man, national service was the next thing in line.
Oh, but okay.
So I was the first one to, why don't you go and figure it out and see if you like it?
Yeah.
If that's something you want to do, then we will bring the rest of the family over.
Okay.
While my sister was still doing secondary school.
Yeah.
Right. So I went over, loved it. But I guess as a young man, I still had connection with some of my friends. And everybody was talking about, we're going to be enlisting, going to national service. And back then was on ICQ.
Yes. Yeah.
Clearly FOMO, right?
Yeah.
And I'm an active guy, like studies was always kind of on the back seat. You know what? I want to come. I told my parents, I want to come back and experience this 2 years anyway. Came back, did national service, did okay.
Yeah.
Right. Decent performance. I went to officer school and he offered me a scholarship.
Okay.
So I was like, you know what?
So once you're done with NS, they offer you a scholarship to study wherever you want to
That's right.
Okay.
Then obviously, if you take the
Bonded.
scholarship, you're going to be bonded, right?
Yep.
So I say, fine, if that is going to give me that first stepping stone to, having having a career,
Yeah.
I can pay off my own education.
It's very solid and reliable job, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. So I did that, studied in Australia in Sydney, and then spent 13 years in the Singapore Armed Forces.
You did. So what were you doing? Were you so you're a coach, right? And you're talking to a bunch of people. Like, let's just say Thursday night at the track, you're there and there's 20 people and you're talking. Yeah. Did you do something similar in the army? Were you like a regiment commander? I don't know what they are, something like that?
Pretty much. So in the course of my career, I'm an infantry officer.
Okay.
So in the course of my career, I did many different roles.
Yep.
But some of the key highlights were like platoon commander and an officer commander in like a active battalion.
Yep.
So you do spend a lot of time interacting with people.
Yeah.
And I find there is a lot of similarity between being an army commander and being a sports coach.
Yeah. Even something as simple as corralling a group of people to listen, right?
That's right.
Or something like people come to you as a triathlete for them to tell you, this is what you got to train, this is what you got to do.
That's right.
Something similar, right?
That's right. And I find I particularly enjoy that. The sport or the skill, it's one thing.
Yep.
Is the human connection.
Yeah.
It's the ability to guide someone and, help them discover what's out, like what they're trying to learn.
Yep.
Breaking it down for them in, bite-sized chunk.
And sometimes you might just be giving them the stepping stone.
That's right.
And they might jump way higher than you,
Exactly.
but they needed you to get that first step or
Exactly.
to get you on the right path, right?
That's right. Yeah, they might end up moving from me to another coach who can take them towards, even greater heights. But my passion is, like helping individuals to just open up the doors, to discover what it is.
Yeah. Sometimes I cycle coach with Metasport, and sometimes I feel that it's the new people to the sport that appreciate it so much more, right? Because thank you so much for taking me here. I was scared to go on the road.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. I've never ridden more than 50 kilometers and we're doing a crunchy loop at 65 or something like that, right? Oh, that was awesome. It's so great to finally get out. I've been wanting to do this for so long, right? And that's the sort of stuff as a coach really, really is heartwarming, right?
Yes. I think that's what energizes us to be coaches.
Yeah.
I hope that's what all coaches strive at least.
Or to see your, not disciples, your clients succeed.
That's right.
World qualifiers, PBs, first race.
That's right.
So you were in the military, how long did you say? 13 years.
13 years.
And did you leave that to do this?
I absolutely did.
You did.
I did.
So how much of it had you planned before you left?
Well, in my army career, I was already in the triathlon. That was something Elaine, my wife, and myself picked up, and it was something new. And when she moved from Vancouver to join me here in Singapore, we were like, why don't we try a brand new sport? And triathlon was still like, something new, and it's a growing sport, a healthy sport. And I got into the sport also because of a colleague of mine that inspired me to get into endurance racing.
But were you any endurance sports before? Were you a swimmer or a runner or anything like that?
I was a swimmer, but I've always been short course.
Yeah.
So my pet event was a 50-meter freestyle.
Okay, yeah, that's explosive.
Yes. So I'm a little bit more of an explosive guy. I did a lot of Australian kickboxing, Muay Thai, but never endurance sport. You make me run like the IPPT 2.4, and that gassed me out. Like, don't touch me for anything longer.
Cramp your sore legs the next day.
Exactly. But I think when I discovered endurance racing and understood, how it's a lot about, physical, mental amplitude, and there's a huge training, kind of philosophy involved to get good with it. That's how I really enjoyed endurance sports in that sense.
And a lot of people don't realize that, let's say I did a triathlon on the weekend and they say, oh, did you win? It's like, no, I didn't win. Of course I didn't win. But the people think that people do these events to win, but you're not. You're just trying to beat yourself,
Yes.
You're trying to better yourself from the last time you did it or the last similar distance, right?
Yes.
There's only 5 people that are going to be on the podium, or, you know, so it's not, and there's like 1,000 people in the race,
Yes.
right? So it's not about winning or losing. It's just about bettering yourself and improving your strategy or improving your fueling or not cramping, for example, something like that, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And there's always room to improve. As a matter of fact, just 2 weeks ago,
Yep.
I just came back from a race that I did not finish.
Okay. Yep.
Yeah, I had a DNF.
I know that feeling. Yeah.
And I feel like in my DNF, the resolve to just keep pushing and the lessons I've learned from not finishing was far greater than any races that I've, you know, completed comfortably, you know,
Yeah.
and did like a fantastic time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So when you left the army, did you already have Elevate as your name? Did you incorporate straight away, or was it something completely different and you just evolved into that direction?
Yeah, it took a little time. So I left on the 14th of February, which was Total Defense Day in 2019.
Yeah.
And then immediately Elaine and I kind of took like a 2 weeks break and we went to hike Everest Base Camp.
Oh, nice.
So obviously you're in the mountains. I was inspired by the mountains. And I asked myself, what is going to be my purpose as a coach, right? I explored like, do I want to be coaching like these kind of clientele? Do I want to be pushing for, you know, this kind of thing? And the name kind of derived because I'm passionate about helping people. So Elevate.
Bringing people up.
That's
you
right.
know. Yeah.
And then I also want to bring in an element of performance. Because before I left, the army kind of, you know, trained me in a little bit in sports science.
Yep.
So I was a like a combat fitness trainer equivalent. So I was equipped with a little bit of sports science and I was helping soldiers improve their physiology, their fitness, their strength. And I wanted to apply that performance in it. Yeah. And then obviously coaching being centered around that human interaction, which is very important to me.
Yeah, man. So you said 6 years ago you started this?
2019, so
Just before COVID, nice.
just before COVID, and everything shut down. I thought I made the worst decision of my life to leave.
Going for a super stable job to your own business, and then the world shuts down.
That's right. Like trying to be an entrepreneur, like what am I doing?
Yeah, everyone's an entrepreneur until they realize actually what it takes to be an entrepreneur.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
So for the first year or two, what were you doing to? Okay, day one, you're coming from the military. Day one, I'm now a triathlon coach. What are you doing? Are you knocking on doors? Are you going to races? Are you calling every single triathlon friend you know, asking them if they want to be coached? What was your plan?
A little bit of everything. I reached out to close friends and go like, hey, you know, I want to practice my coaching methodology. You know, would you be interested in, you know, trying out? You know, I'll put you on a plan. We will discuss about it.
Yeah.
We'll work together to develop the plan. You know, it's going to be a partnership. Give me as much feedback as you can about, you know, my approach, how I've structured everything. So it started off with 2 clients.
Yep.
Right? Friends, obviously. And then they were really helpful. And I brought them to their first 70.3 half Ironman. And, you know, they were very happy.
Yep.
So I think that was the initial stepping stone.
So are those 2 people still with you?
They're not. You know, matter of fact, is in a lot of my coaching relationship, it's kind of like a needs basis.
Yeah.
I enjoy the transition from simply a client to a friendship. I think over 90% of my working relationship with my athletes are of that type.
It's funny, the early, as much as you can plan, right? You could have planned everything. You could read it in notebooks. You could have done everything, and you think, this is exactly what I'm going to do. Those first 2 clients would filter out so many of those things. This is good. This is bad. This is completely unnecessary, right?
Yes.
You might have wanted to have matching shoelaces to your tops or something, you know, something stupid like that. Yeah. But sometimes when you're in your little world and you're so laser focused on what you think people want, is so different from what people actually do want, right? And I think a lot of people get frustrated when they are trying to push what they think people want, and it's completely different, right? And they'll just fail miserably.
I agree. I think it's just really pointing them in the correct direction. They have to take certain ownership in making some choices.
And you as a coach or you as a company have to be able to be nimble enough to navigate through all that, right? Because if you're too rigid, you're just going to sink like it's a stone.
I agree.
So then, how many people do you have on board right now? Oof. Roughly? Like, because I'm sure they come and go, right? Beginning of the year, there'll probably be more. End of the year, there'll probably be less. Are we talking like 100, 50, 200?
I would say active members on all of our squad platforms at any one point of time, anything between 200 to 300 people.
Okay. And what would your ideal size be? When you get to 500, are you in a land thinking, hey, this is great, let's just maintain this? Or are you, how big do you want to get?
I don't think I have a specific size.
Yep.
I don't want to expand and run a big business. I just want to run a small business well, a small business good.
Yep.
Even if my clientele stays stagnant right now, I think it is a good number to have.
Yep.
As long as I continue to do like the simple stuff, where everything from like the running programs just got to be good. The swim programs just got to be good.
It's like In-N-Out Burger, right?
Yeah.
In-N-Out Burger has the double and the single or something. Right?
That's right.
You go in there, you want a Big Mac, you can't get it, right?
Yeah.
But they do those two burgers so bloody well that that's all you need to, they're successful. That's all you need to do. Just get your core product, do it well, stick to it. Don't get distracted by maybe selling merchandise, right? It might not be your thing. And you could get so distracted by trying to make t-shirts that you forget about the coaching itself, right?
That's right. Yeah. So actually every year when I think about what I want to do the following year, I always try to, taught by one of my athletes as well, to just kind of consolidate a little bit and then only introduce maybe one new thing.
Yeah.
I don't try to do too many things.
Too fancy as well.
Exactly. Like I just try to do the core thing well and then just maintain that and serve my clients in those platforms that I'm good in. Yeah, pretty much.
So what would you say your coaching philosophy is? Are you a lot of high load, or you focused training, or you balanced, nutrition or whatever? What do you, if someone newbie walks in and says, hey, Arthur, what are you all about? What would you say?
I think I'm all about having fun and enjoying it.
Okay.
Like we take ourselves too seriously. So if we learn to do the sport to enrich our lives, and I think that's more important than setting a new PB.
Yep.
Because too often, not that I don't work with, higher performance athlete, but it is important to realize that triathlon revolves around our lives.
And most of us have a 9 to 5.
Exactly.
Right.
And I work primarily with age group. In fact, 100% of my clientele are age group, athletes, full-time job, parents, responsibility. And yes, as much as we want to, set a new personal best at the next race, it can't come as a compromise.
Yeah.
From, your...
And if you're not enjoying yourself, you get to that personal best and it's going to be a sort of a hollow victory anyway, right?
Exactly.
Like, I didn't eat for 6 months to get down to that weight, and I suffered and it sucked and I hated it. And now my husband or wife hates me because I'm always out of the house.
Yes.
Right?
I hear that too often.
Yeah.
And I'm privileged because I have a spouse who completely understands. She do the sport as much as I do, and she takes it just as seriously as I am, or not as seriously as I am.
Yep.
And I think that's a good balance. But when you have a partner who don't really understand, and I hear from my athletes like, oh, I gotta get permission to like get out for like this 4 or 5 hour bike ride, I get a little bit worried.
So then let's talk about Elevate in general, right? Are you, so I had Ben Pullen from Coached on before, right?
Yes.
He is not so much a squad section person. He is prescribing training. He has squad sessions for fun, but not as part of the core business, right?
Yes.
Are you out there? Because I know that you do a track session on Thursdays, right?
Tuesday and Thursday.
Tuesdays and Thursdays. Okay. So are most of your people signing up for coming to squad and running together as a squad, or are they one-to-one? You need to do training peaks and tell them the whole month in advance.
Yeah. So I guess my core business is centered around the foundation of Training Peaks.
Okay.
So I do develop their training program, and the rest of the ecosystem with our track squad and our swim squad. Our track squad is every Tuesday and Thursday. We partner with Tribal,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
So we are kind of like a sister club,
Yep.
and anybody who has a membership with Elevate will be able to pop by on Thursday to Tribal, and
Okay.
vice versa.
Gotcha.
And we do all sorts of different clinics, training camps, bike maintenance workshops.
Yep.
And basically, we invite everyone to come. And those are the ecosystem, but it's centered around the foundation of the training plan. And even on the training plan, it's not like, oh, you gotta be with me for like a year.
Yeah.
Yeah. Depending on the distance of the race, there will be a minimum time that I want to be working with you, because especially with our sport in endurance training, endurance racing, there's no shortcut to that success.
You can't cram an Ironman.
That's right. There's no instant gratification. You can't, you got to let time, the body absorb the training. And anybody who comes to me like, oh, I have 2-3 months to a 70.3, Arthur, can you come please save me? Like develop me a plan. Like I can't work with you, because no matter how good I am.
Yeah. You're not going to get the result that
you can't, right? Exactly. I can be like Jan Frodeno or like, world best athlete, best methodology in the world. Like it just doesn't work that way.
Yeah.
That's the call.
So if I was your athlete, you would be programming my training peaks. I wouldn't have to think about it. I'll just look at my calendar and think, oh, today is 5-1, 5x5, whatever, right? And then if you go to the squat session, is it going to be the same stuff as is on my calendar?
Pretty much.
Okay.
Pretty much.
Gotcha.
I train by energy system. The training program might not be exactly the same, but on that particular day, if the energy system is to be training and aerobic, even if you come on a Tuesday track and it's going to be a high intensity run, it will coincide with what you're seeing on your training peaks.
Gotcha. Yeah. Okay. And then do you do 1-to-1 like on a Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock? If I don't have a job and you're available, you can go out and do a 1-to-1 session as well?
Yes. So I do that primarily in the swim. My specialization is the swim. I think I have the eye as a coach to identify, stroke mechanic, little low hanging fruits to improve their swim.
Yeah.
So that's my specialization. Most people will come to me one-on-one for stroke correction.
Yeah, exactly. I was going to say that because I'm a swimmer as well. And when you're learning how to swim, you can't see yourself.
Yes.
Right. You don't know what you're doing right. You don't know what you're doing wrong. You might look like a fool flailing around in the water. But you have no idea.
That's right.
Having another set of eyes or even a GoPro or something video you and to say, hey, look, your catch is wrong. You're way too short or something like that.
That's right.
It helps a lot.
That's right. And that's what I always say as well. Like, if you're in the gym learning how to do it like a deadlift, you get instant feedback from a mirror, you get your coach. But in swimming, there's a lot of, you got to activate your proprioception, right? You got to visualize that spatial awareness of where your feet's going to be, etc.
Yep.
And even if the coach is in the water with an underwater camera filming you, you're not seeing it right away.
Yeah.
You got to remember what you just did.
Yeah.
Get out of the pool, and then see and actually connect with like what you did wrong and try to improve on that.
It's like when I've got people in here and I'm teaching them how to pedal, right? I could teach them all afternoon where your foot should be, how flat it should be, or where the proper positioning of your feet. But the first time they go out on the ride, they're going to forget all about what I talk about. But at least I tell them, at least try to remember every once in a while, correct it. Maybe your 1% becomes 2%. The next time it becomes 5%. One day it will be there, right?
Yes, exactly. And I feel like the coaching cue and the timing and how many coaching cues you give them at any one point is really important. You don't want to be overloading them with too much stuff.
Yeah.
So very often some athletes will come to me and like, oh, I actually swim like a low 2-minute or like a high 2-minute, like a 2-minute 30.
Yep.
Can I do like a one session with you and like tell me everything, like a video? That's right. Like a video analysis.
Yep.
Like a one-off thing. I'm like, it's not going to work. I can do it, but you're not going to benefit from it.
And there's too many things at once to correct, right?
That's right. We want to take it one level at a time, getting the body position right before you even want to work about arm stroke mechanics, because what's the point of improving your arm stroke mechanics if you're just going to be swimming with like a huge drag in your
dead
bend
legs or
position.
something.
That's right.
Yeah. Hey, you also have done Ironman, and you've done quite a few maybe Xterras and long races, right? Are you still racing now? Are you still involved?
Yes.
In this sort of stuff?
So I did T100, which was garbage.
You did. Oh, so I must have seen you. You must have run straight past me because I was the start manager at T100.
Oh.
I was for duathlon and triathlon. So
Yeah, that was a really tough race. So I am the T100 Singapore captain
okay,
with Man Yun.
okay.
And
Were you a relay, or were you actually doing the full race?
I was given the slot to do the whole thing, right?
Okay.
So
Triathlon or
triathlon, the whole thing.
yeah, I would have definitely seen you then, because I was the last person you would have seen before you jumped in the water.
So obviously, that was a tough race.
Yeah.
I had maybe a squad of like 40 athletes
Yeah.
there, 40, 50 of them. And like their performance is my main priority, not mine.
Yeah.
Right. So the months leading up to it, we had our training camps,
Yeah.
we have our clinics and all that kind of stuff. And when you're coaching on deck, if you're in the mix during the training,
Yeah.
you don't have good overview of, your stragglers at the back and giving them the extra tips.
But there's a certain amount of pride, I wouldn't say ego, but some amount of pride of when you're in the race, you also want to do good. You don't want to have a shit race and everyone say, hey, this is your coach is out here having a terrible triathlete, right? You want to have a good race. You want to finish strong. Everything else, you feel like you need to do that, right? As well, right?
Absolutely. I think it's an ego thing, but you wanna walk the talk.
Yeah, it's not. I wouldn't say, because ego is a bit of a negative connotation, right? You want to show people that you are also following the plan.
That's right.
Right? You are trusting the process. You are also on board with them.
Yes.
And if you were, you would have a decent race as well.
Yes.
Right?
And I believe that it is still important to be still a practitioner of the sport. You don't have to be lightning quick. In Chinese, there's this 一山比一山高. There's always a mountain that's going to be taller than you, right?
Or in the modern context, what is it? No matter how good you are, there's always some kid in China that can do it better than you, right?
yeah.
That's the TikTok version of that.
Exactly. My athlete just came back from Ironman Shanghai.
Yeah.
Like, she's really decent in Singapore, and everybody's just like passing her like she's on standstill.
Yeah.
Right.
I heard that happened at Da Nang this year as well. Was it Philip Klober? He won his age group last year. He's the past guest.
Yeah.
He did a 450 last year, won his age group. He did a 440 this year, PB 10 minutes. He came 16th in his age group. So that means there's 15 other people that did sub 440 in the 40 to 44 category, which is crazy.
Yeah. And it just, who shows up on race day?
Yeah, exactly.
Right. Yeah. So I did T100.
Yeah.
And now the last 3-4 years, I've been venturing into Xterra racing.
Yeah.
Because I feel like it comes to my advantage.
Yeah.
I have decent bike handling skills, right? Nowhere close to a pure mountain biker.
Yeah.
I'm a horrible runner. But in the trails, when it's, the ascent is there,
Yep.
and I'm power walking up the hill,
Yeah.
it's less of a time deficit or like a.
Yeah, in your flat road, and the pure runners will smoke you, right?
That's right. And the thing is, with trail racing, there's no pacing involved. You're constantly surging when, there's a need to like go up the hill.
Yeah.
And as a speed athlete from young, like I feel like that kind of plays to my strength. And I've been really enjoying it.
And trail racing, trail running in general, I find it so stressful because when let's just say you're running on Bukatima Road, right? You're just running along. Every once in a while, it's a curb. You go up and down it, but you can switch off. You can just do a podcast. You can do whatever.
Yes.
Trail run, especially if it's just rained, you got to look for every single damn rock, every single wet route, every single slippery slope. Because if you don't see it, you'll roll an ankle, or you'll slide down the hill, or what. And I always come out of that McRitchie when I run McRitchie, like my brain is just it's a good way of forgetting your worries because you've got other worries
You are right.
to worry about, right?
You're right. Yeah. Like on flat roads or like at least on pavement.
Yeah.
It's all about finding the rhythm. I always tell my athletes.
Yeah, exactly.
Half Ironman, full Ironman, start steady. Your main goal, the moment you start your race, is like, am I in the rhythm? Constantly ask yourself this question.
Yeah.
Am I getting into a rhythm? Because
the first 1.5 kilometers sucks. It doesn't matter. That's
right.
It always sucks. And then it's just finding the pace and the rhythm, right?
that's right. But with Xterra, it always sucks because that's constantly going up and down.
Yeah.
Also, and it's very exciting in that sense.
Yeah.
And I've I found a lot of joy doing it.
So you got the backpack, you got the 2 little bottles, you got
That's
you're all in the trail running shoes, everything.
That's right. And you have mountain bike. And I learned this thing where in Xterra, depending on the condition of the course, at T2, you actually prep 2 pairs of running shoe.
Oh, yes.
A road carbon plate fast shoe and a trail shoe with more grip. So after you finish the mountain bike, depending on the weather, if it's going to be wet or it's dry, it's hard packed, and you got a sense of what the conditions are. When you go to T2, you then make the decision which
is the equivalent of having a disc wheel or not disc wheel.
That's right.
Depending if it's windy or not, right?
That's right. You make the decision on site right there at T2, which is pretty cool.
While we're talking about running, so in a couple of weeks, hopefully, I'm still working out details with Natalie. She's going to come in and do a podcast, right?
Yes.
And we'll definitely talk about the Project 1000 when I'm talking to her. And Project 1000, especially, I'm not sure of the recent one that she did in Philippines, but the one from Thailand to Singapore, you were definitely there every step of the way, right?
Yes.
Tell me this. She's out there running every day from Thailand to Singapore, 1,000 kilometers. That's why it's that Project 1000, right? What were you doing all that time when you were there? What was your role?
Oof. I think I played many different roles.
Yeah.
I think one thing I definitely did not do was trying to be a motivator.
Yeah, I can totally get it. You're running out there in the middle of the night, and then you roll up on the mountain, like, yeah, let's go. Yeah, fuck off.
And the thing
you don't know me.
The thing is, Nat is she's a very tough woman. So I knew that I would have succeeded if all Nat needed to do in those 12 days was just to run from point A to point B.
Yep.
So in essence, everything else, I more or less have my hands into, stocking up on ice, stocking up on, fluid, food. When we were doing the Thailand to Singapore, we were setting a Guinness World Record. So there was no real rule in terms of what path. We have a planned route.
Yep.
But at any one point of time when we're on the ground, we find that, maybe we can optimize it by cutting through this particular, route, which the vehicle can go. I was on my mountain bike. I can pace her through it.
Yep.
And then I'll tell like the driver team and the rest of the team, you know what? We will set up a link-up point, right? And you will find us there 5 hours later, right? Based on this.
So you had walkie-talkies or you had just mobile phones?
That's right. But many times we were like out of range.
Yeah.
So it was a lot of trust that we're going to go in that direction is going to be right.
Yeah.
So a lot of map study was involved.
Yeah.
In fact, I leveraged a lot on my army guys when I was on the road.
Yeah.
Because we were in the sun for so long that my phone will overheat.
Yeah. Wow.
And when I'm on the bike, I can't use my phone.
Yeah.
I was getting carpal tunnel syndrome from being on a bike for so long. I can't see the screen because the sun was so glaring.
And then the batteries don't necessarily last the whole day as well, right?
So I pretty much got on the phone, called my buddy. I was like, okay, I'm here. I'm trying to go here.
Yeah.
I know there's these options. Calculate like elevation gains,
Oh, wow. So it's quite specific what you're doing.
Yeah, because you're weighing between running by the coastal route, which is going to be flat, or going inland, which is a little bit shorter, but you deal with more elevation.
Yeah.
But then maybe there's less, tree coverage.
Yep.
So you're going to be in direct sun for a longer time with elevation, but you trim it by 7 kilometers.
Damn, that's like so complicated. And then like logistics for accommodation.
That's right.
Was that you or was that you had a whole team of people?
So there's a team. Nat planned primarily most of it, but then we would have a team whereby, we have 2 vehicles.
Yeah.
We know that the support is more or less good. Nat has maybe another hour or 2 of running. Then we will send the first vehicle to the front, do the check-in so that her bags are in the room, aircon is blasting, so it can cool down, dinners is ordered. Because the first time we did it, it was really survival.
Did you do a trial run, like run to Malacca and back or something like that?
No.
Something short?
That's exactly about what I felt like we have gained over this Project 1000.
Yeah.
You can't rehearse it.
Yeah, exactly.
People ask me like, how does Nat train it? I'm like, it's like when you train for a marathon, do you run a marathon in your training plan to prepare for that? Right? Similarly with 1,000 kilometers, like you don't train 100+ kilometers a day just to prepare for Project 1000.
Yeah.
you do it cumulatively over time and let the body absorb the fitness. And on race day, you exercise a strategy, a plan.
Yep.
But the thing is, the truth is, you don't know if you can even.
You don't know 600 kilometers in how your feet are going to be, right?
You don't. You don't.
So I guess your role is open all the doors, clear every path.
That's right.
All Natalie has to do is run, eat, sleep, wake up, shower, maybe, and then so her mind is just clear.
That's right.
Put the shoes on, run.
That's right.
And then everything else, I know I've got a team, and you're the team.
Yes.
I've got to do this, do that.
That's right. Yeah, the team was really important. Yeah, the team was really.
It sounds like bike packing just without the bike.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm going to go to this town.
Yes.
Okay, it's going to take me 6 hours to get there. Maybe have lunch there and keep going. And it was it like every waking hour, every waking moment, she's moving forward?
She is.
Is that what it was?
She is. Like, she has one job, like, to just keep moving forward. Even if she is out of energy, she keeps walking. We will make sure that she kept moving forward as long as she can. Like, there were many times whereby the vans had a flat tire, 2 flat tires. We were transitioning between like the Thai border and the Malaysian border, and the vehicles needed to be swapped because the Malaysian vehicles were meeting us at the border. So we got to move all the stuff from one van to the other, and there's a time penalty. She just keeps charging forward. Like,
of course.
I will stock up my bike with fluid and supplies. I will make sure that I'm stocked up, and then we just keep moving forward. And
Because you were literally on a mountain bike behind her, in front of her, or somewhere in the vicinity the whole time. So her Project 1000 of running was your Project 1000 on the bike.
it was.
Basically, right?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. So what did you learn from that you took back to this, right? Is there any key takeaways from what you did there to your coaching?
Absolutely. One big thing was about nutrition, which is you can have a nutrition plan, but very often if you don't train with it, it doesn't work, right? And with Project 1000, as much as we had like, okay, on an hourly basis, we work with our nutritionist.
Yeah.
On an hourly basis, this is the amount of carbs, sodium, yada, 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 fluid, and this is the type of food. By day 2 or 3, everything threw out the window. She can't ingest another bottle of like, energy drink, and take in another gel. Like, that's why in this year's 2025 Project 1000 in Philippines, not a single gel, not a sip of energy drink was.
Oh, wow.
It was all whatever we can find on the streets.
Well, even the best nutrition plan, you goes, look at Bloom. What's a Bloom? Is it Kona? Was it Kona or was it Nice? Kona last year, right? Blumenfeld was puking on the bike.
That's right,
on the bike. You think that he didn't train his nutrition? Of course he did.
Yes.
But and even then, he's pushing so hard or he's doing so what?
Yes,
right.
That's right. That's right. I mean, in most of our regular races, half Ironman, full Ironman, it's not going to be obviously it's not going to be the same like Project 1000.
Yeah, of course.
But there's definitely a lot of lessons learned there about age group athletes also needing to really practice that fueling because there's a lot of mathematical calculation. Based on your body weight, you should be taking this amount of carbs.
Yeah.
This is your recommended range and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But in your training, if you have not really conditioned your body to and those products are not cheap as well.
Molten, especially, is the worst.
Exactly.
So I've got athletes that come back and say, I did a training ride like $30 later with gels, right? Yeah. Because I had three $10 gels or something.
Exactly, right? Unless you're training the last 2 months leading into the race and actually taking that amount of carbs.
Yeah.
How could you go on race and actually execute that strategy when your gut is not going to be?
Well, they always say don't try anything new on race day, right?
Exactly.
And also something so simple as, let's just say time is zero right now. You take the gel. How much time it actually takes for that gel to kick in? Is it 5 seconds? Is it 15 minutes? Is it half an hour? It makes a difference because for 17.3, if you haven't eaten on the bike, you're dead in the water on the run, right? Because you can't eat during the run, right?
And I always tell my athletes, like, even if you took in the product, the gel, the energy drink, your tummy is kind of like an involuntary organ. You can't tell it to switch on and off.
Yeah, it's not binary where you take 100 grams of carbs, you definitely get 100 grams of carbs in your blood, right?
That's right. That's why everybody gets a lot of GI issue. Everything is sloshing around mid-bike or when you start the marathon. It's because you've not taught the gut to switch on. So the one thing I learned when I was in Kona with Elaine, I listened to a little workshop with Mark Allen. He always say, never just swallow your gel, like eat it. You like take your time and eat it like it's dinner time, chew on the gel, because you wake up the brain and the brain tells your tummy like, okay, send some blood back to this involuntary organs because stuff is going in so that it starts absorbing.
That's why I used to use Cliff Blocks a lot. So you can take it out of the packet, you can put it in your cheek, you can chew it as you want. You're not forced to ingest it all at
not
once.
just swallowing the gel and then it's done, right? It might not work.
Yeah. So then, now 6 years in, what are the things that you wish you knew then that you know now?
I think when I first started, not that it wasn't important, the emphasis was a lot on coaching, right? I wanted to be a great coach and stuff. And I think I got that foundation. But I think what I realize now is you also got to be an entrepreneur. You got to understand like where to put your time, how you're gonna structure certain things. And I think that part I never got, experience being in the armed forces. In the armed forces, you don't put on an entrepreneur cap and I got to run a business.
Yeah.
And how do you grow it?
Pipeline is always going to be flowing in a job like that, right?
That's right.
One of the biggest lessons I've learned, so we've been having this business was 10th year this year, right?
Oh wow. Yeah.
You can have the best product. You believe in your product, you assume it's going to sell because it's the best product, right? Don't pay attention. You need to market it. You need to go out there. You need to convince the people that this is the best product, and then they will start to come, right? Just being good at something is not enough, right? You need to be able to sell it. You need to be able to communicate it. You need to be able to get other people to you need the word of mouth. You need the mouths in the word of mouth, right?
Yes.
Because if you're the only one that's shouting it, you can just be shouting all day long.
Yes. And Elaine and John Ma would always go like, hey, like on social media, we got to start something whereby we got to do a spotlight on our athletes. So people who've been with us for the last 5-6 years, we got to give them a shout out.
Yeah.
And then Elaine will always go like, we have some budget, like run some social media ads, For me, it's just like, high quality coaching, like this, that. But the thing is, there's so many things that supports that, the opportunity for a client to even walk through the door.
Yeah. And it's basically waiting for that big fish. And if the big fish never bites, you're going to be waiting forever, right?
Exactly.
You need to put as many hooks out there as possible. You can catch 5 medium-sized fish. It's going to be more than that one big fish.
That's right. And I never learned that until probably after COVID, like 3 years into the business. Yeah, because COVID kind of stopped everything as well.
Yep.
And I actually, at that point of time, I also started a gym.
Yep.
That didn't turn out really well.
Oh, so you did have a gym at one stage, didn't you, in Chinatown?
I did.
So is that been and gone?
It's gone.
Okay.
It's gone. It got too expensive. But man, the lessons learned from opening and closing up a physical space.
You look what I've got here, right?
Exactly.
So, okay. It's been great talking to you. I kind of feel that I'm missing out on not having Elaine here, though. I think you're half of the picture here, right? I think John Miles one that asked me to call you, right? Yeah. He said, get Arthur and Elaine both on. They'll be a great team. It happens that you're here and she's in Vancouver. I think I'll call her, come in. She's a different story to tell, right?
Absolutely.
So, and she's doing more on the executive coaching and that sort of stuff I hear, right? So it'll be a completely other podcast. Maybe get both of you on one time and then we can talk about the whole thing together, right?
Yeah, that sounds good.
But so how would people get a hold of you? Would Arthur Tong try, or would Elevate Performance Coaching be the best way?
Both would work. They can go online and search Elevate Performance Coaching.
Yep.
And there will be contact numbers.
And it's not just the newbies, it's not just the elite athletes, it's everybody.
I think I'm centered around the community.
Yep.
And that's really important.
Yep.
So anyone can join, people as fast as, John, Elaine.
Yep.
And then we have Judy, who is like our 70-plus-year-old athlete.
Oh, nice.
You know, she will join us. She's not fast, but you know, she enjoys the community. I think that's the aspects about Elevate that is very, very unique. Yeah,
And you kind of need that. You need that. Sometimes you need those anchors just to keep the ship steady, right?
Yes,
people are always going to come and go,
Yes.
right? You get those few people that just the cheerleaders, the anchors. They might not be very good. They might be really good. It could be anybody. They just stick with the program, and it just makes it a whole lot better.
Absolutely.
Arthur, thank you so much for coming in. Let's catch up again. It's been a while before I finally met you, but I think we're going to talk a lot more in the future.
We definitely should.
Okay.
Yeah.